Hey everyone, it's Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here with a midday on this Wednesday update on the threat for severe weather as we head into the mid to late afternoon and into this evening. The threat is there today. First, let's start with what's going on right now. It's pretty warm outside. It is humid and it's largely dry. In fact, we've had some sunshine so far this morning. I'm recording this at about 11:35 a.m. by the way. Uh, Sunshine peeking through some clouds here across northeast Ohio, western Pennsylvania. Now, uh, the more sunshine we get today, the more unstable the atmosphere will be because it will be warmer in the lower levels. Warm air has an easier time rising. So, the more sun we see, that's actually bad news for how things will go later on today. The radar pretty quiet locally. We do have some showers and storms out here towards Columbus, down towards Wilmington, and then up into Marion and Bucyrus. Nothing severe here, just kind of garden variety showers and storms. And then we run into steady, chilly rain back here in Indiana and Illinois right now. Uh, we have warm air overhead, and it's real easy to pick out where our cold front is, the cold front that's largely responsible for all of the action we're going to see. That front kind of right in through here. East of it, more summer-like warmth. West of it, boy, real taste of March or October, take your pick, on the backside of that front. And we also, we have warm air. It's also pretty muggy outside for May anyway. Let's take a look at the dew points here, dew point temperatures. And if you're kind of new to these videos or for more in-depth weather coverage, dew point is a direct measure of how much moisture is in the low levels of the atmosphere. It's a better thing to use than relative humidity. Relative humidity can be very deceiving. It can be a cold night and you're never ever thinking about the humidity in January, but the humidity could be 95%. But that doesn't mean it's humid outside. It just means the relative humidity is high. Dew point is a much better tool, and anytime you hear me talking about dew points in the 60s, that means that when you step outside, it's noticeable. The air is muggy. When we have dew points up above 70, that's when it feels like Florida. It's oppressive to be outside. I don't think we'll get into the 70s in terms of our dew points this afternoon, but you can easily pick out where this kind of plume of moisture ahead of our cold front is. This muggy air extends all the way up into parts of southern Canada this midday, and then of course the air is much drier off to the west. All right, we have the risk for severe weather, and that's of course why I'm doing this video. No watches or warnings out as we speak. Everything's still pretty quiet. Here's a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for severe weather today. I'm going to bring up a little bit more information here. Uh, Anywhere we have the yellow here, that is the what we call the slight risk, although I don't like using the word slight. I like enhanced risk. Slight sounds a little too kind of la-di-da for me. Enhanced risk, a higher risk than usual in terms of severe weather in this yellow shading, and this includes the entire WFMJ viewing area. Then we can talk about the percent chances of certain phenomena occurring within 25 miles of any one location. And in the yellow area here, this is the percent chance of a tornado occurring within 25 miles of any spot. Pick a spot, your house, the grocery store, wherever. In the yellow, this is a 5% area. So a 5% chance of a tornado occurring today within 25 miles of any one spot. 5% is not a very big number, but you have to keep in mind that it is a higher number than just about every other day of the year here in Ohio and Pennsylvania. We get a handful, or maybe in some years a dozen days like this per year, where the risk of a tornado within 25 miles of your spot is around 5%. So that's the tornado risk. Here's hail. In the yellow area, this is a 15% risk of large hail, not just the pea-sized stuff, the little pebbles, but larger hail. 15% chance of that occurring within 25 miles of any one location. And then for damaging winds, the number is the same as the hail. We're talking about a 15% likelihood of damaging wind gusts within 25 miles of any one spot. Now, again, these numbers don't sound all that impressive, but they are higher than a typical day, and it certainly gets our antennas up and indicates to us that there's a risk out there for severe weather for this afternoon. So what kind of timing are we talking about here? Let me actually switch back to this source because it'll be easier for you to see. I'm going to bring up our high-resolution rapid refresh computer model here and show you the simulated radar product. And I'm going to start this a few hours from now at 2 p.m. And at this point, I don't think severe weather is real likely. There could be spotty activity around northeast Ohio and into western Pennsylvania. Then here's 3 o'clock. Coverage starting to increase somewhat across the Buckeye State. 4 o'clock this afternoon, again, the coverage generally increasing here. This will not be more than likely a big wall of water coming our way. Everything is going to be kind of cellular and individual and classic hit or miss, but where you get hit, you could get hit pretty hard. So here's 4 o'clock this afternoon. 5 o'clock this evening, as we head towards the dinner hour, things are looking fairly active. A few clusters of showers and storms around. 6 o'clock this evening, the same idea. Now keep in mind this is just a computer model. It's not going to get things exactly right, but it gives you a general sense of the overall coverage. It's not going to be raining in every spot at these individual times, but it will be storming in some locations. 7 o'clock this evening, 8 o'clock. Here's when we still have that risk around. Notice perhaps the activity a little more pronounced off to the west around I-71, Columbus to Mansfield at 7 o'clock this evening, or 8 o'clock, I'm sorry. Here's 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock with more threats for wet weather. I think the threat for severe weather will end tonight by 11 or midnight as the colder air starts to wrap in. All of this water out here is just a cold rain, no severe weather, and that's going to come east. So I think our window for possible strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon will generally be from 2 or 3 through 10 or 11 this evening. There's not going to be severe weather every hour of that window, but that's the window in which it may occur. Number one threat, perhaps above everything else, is actually going to be flooding. These storms, where they hit, will have a lot of water with them, and our ground is very moist. We just had quite a bit of rain. So flooding, I would put at the top of the list in terms of risks for this afternoon and evening. Below that, damaging winds. We're not talking about, probably a whole lot of 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but I could see where some of these storms produce a 50 to 60-mile-per-hour gust in a few spots. So flooding, and then down in here somewhere, wind. Below the wind, hail. Don't think these will be huge hail producers, but you could see some hail in some of these scattered storms. And then at the bottom of the list, the risk for a tornado. The risk for a tornado is not zero today, but it also is not tremendously high. It's just the conditions are just favorable enough that we do have to mention it for this afternoon. Let me just show you why real quickly here. I don't want to prattle on for too long. Let me back this up to mid-afternoon. And I'm going to show you the wind at the surface where we live, and also the wind up at about 5,000 feet, and show you the difference. And that difference in wind direction is what a lot of times gives us the possibility of some spinning thunderstorms. Here's the wind at the surface, generally south to southeast, mid-afternoon today. South to southeast at the surface, but up at about 5,000 feet, it's a little more south to, even trying to come around to the south and west. That's what we call wind shear, the change in wind direction with height in the atmosphere. It's not through the roof today, the wind shear, but it is noticeable enough that some of these updrafts in these storms could develop some rotation. So bottom line is, we're going to keep you up to date on social media, Facebook and Twitter included. Any severe thunderstorm warnings will prompt us to break in on TV during commercial breaks. In the unfortunate event that we get tornado warnings, we will go over programming on 21 WFMJ, and we will probably launch a live stream. Even if we're not on TV constantly, we probably will launch a live stream on WFMJ.com and our apps, our apps on both Apple devices and Android devices of coverage. So even if we're not constantly on TV, we probably will have continuous coverage on a stream late this afternoon and early this evening. So that's the latest here at 11:40. We'll keep you updated all day, and thanks for tuning into this special web video.